Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome. Today we're going to dive into a really interesting chapter from your Beehive textbook called The Fun They Had.
But before we get started, I want you to do a little something for me. Just take a moment and think. What do you think your school will be like, say, 100 years from now? Just imagine it. What does it look like? Who are the teachers? Are you still using books made of paper? Just picture it in your mind, okay? Got it? Good. Let's keep that thought with us.
You know, the story we are about to explore today does exactly that. The Fun They Had, written by the famous author Isaac Asimov, imagines what a school in the future might be like. It's a kind of story we call science fiction.
So what exactly is science fiction? Well, it's actually quite simple. These are stories that are set in the future, and they imagine how our world could change because of new science and technology. You know, things like super smart computers, robots doing all our work, or even traveling in spaceships to other planets.
All right then, are you ready? Let's travel into the world of The Fun They Had. To really get a feel for this story, we need to know exactly when and where it's all happening. So this story isn't happening now. No, it's set way into the future, in the year 2157. Just think about that. That's more than 130 years from today. Now, in this future world, things are very different. Children don't go to a school building like you do. Their school is actually a room right inside their own house, probably just next to their bedroom. And their teacher, well, it's not a person, it's a machine, a big computer screen that teaches them all their subjects. Just try to imagine that for a second. No school bus, no classmates sitting next to you, just you alone in a room with a mechanical teacher.
Okay, so how does our story actually get started? It begins with a very surprising discovery, something that's totally normal for us, but for the children in the year 2157, it's a huge shock.
Our main character, an 11-year-old girl named Margie, writes in her diary. And what does she write? She writes, "Today, Tommy found a real book." For her, this is a massive deal. A real book. A book made with actual paper.
They are just fascinated by this object, a book that has yellow pages that make a crinkly sound when you turn them. But the strangest thing of all for them? The words on the page. They just stand still. They don't move around like the words on their computer screens, on their telebooks. It's all very strange for them.
Now, when Tommy tells Margie that the old book is all about school, she's not impressed at all. "School," she says. "What's there to write about school? I hate school." This line tells us so much about how Margie feels. Clearly, she does not like her school one bit.
And you might wonder, why does she hate it so much? Well, you see, she'd been having a really tough time with geography. Her mechanical teacher kept giving her test after test, and she was doing worse and worse. Her mother got worried and called the county inspector. He's like a mechanic for these robot teachers. He came and found that the problem wasn't Margie's fault at all. The machine's geography level was set way too high for her age. So you can imagine how frustrating and upsetting that must have been for her.
So, now that we know a bit about the world, let's get to know our two main characters a little better, shall we?
On one hand, we have Margie. She's 11. She's very curious, especially about this old book. But as we've seen, she's also quite sensitive and really dislikes her mechanical school. Then there's Tommy. He's a bit older, 13 years old, and he acts like he knows a lot more. He's the one who finds the book and kind of explains how things used to be to Margie.
So this discovery of the old book leads to the most important conversation in the whole story. The huge difference between the schools of the past, schools like ours today, and the schools of their future.
Let's look at this comparison. It really shows how different things are. In the past, the teacher was a human being. The school was a special, separate building, and you had lots of classmates learning together. But in Margie's world, the teacher is a machine. The school is just a room in your house. There are no classmates, you learn all by yourself. And the lessons are completely customized for you. It's a completely different idea of what school even means.
So this story is more than just about a boy and a girl finding an old book. What is the author Isaac Asimov really trying to get us to think about? What are the bigger messages here?
The story really highlights the things we often don't even think about. It shows us how important human connection is. Learning from another person, talking, laughing, that's so different from learning from a screen. The author makes us wonder, can technology, no matter how smart it gets, ever really replace a human teacher? It seems to suggest that if we rely too much on machines for education, we might lose something very important. The friendships, the shared jokes, the feeling of learning together.
Now, the author uses a very clever technique in this story called irony. Let's take a moment to understand what this word means. Irony is basically when there's a contrast between what we expect to happen and what actually happens. It can be surprising and sometimes even a little bit funny.
So here's the irony in our story. Margie, who lives in the advanced future, thinks that our schools, the schools of today, must have been incredibly fun. Isn't that something? For some of us, maybe school feels like a chore sometimes, maybe even boring. But from Margie's point of view, living all alone with her machine, our schools seem like the most wonderful, exciting place to be. That's the irony.
This brings us to the very end of the story, to Margie's final thoughts. As she's sitting in her schoolroom, in front of that mechanical teacher, her mind is not on her lesson. It's somewhere else entirely. She's thinking about those old schools from the book. She's imagining all the kids from the whole neighborhood all coming to one place together. She can almost hear them laughing and shouting in the schoolyard. She pictures them all in one classroom, learning the same things, so they could actually help each other with their homework.
And that's when she understands. She has this big realization. School wasn't just about learning maths and history. It was about community. It was about making friends, helping one another, and just having fun together. That was the fun they had.
So, as we close this chapter, I want to leave you with a question to think about. The title is The Fun They Had. After hearing Margie's story, what do you think that fun really is? Think about your own school, your friends, your teachers. What is the fun that you have?